Hello, everyone.
Proper commenting.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel for Everything Arsenal. And today we're not going to be talking about Arsenal by themselves. We're going to be talking about the other 7 teams as well. So Europa League previews and predictions. And I have a special guest with me. First time working together. Okay, not first time, we've been on other channels together. So Sals, how are you?
Yeah, man, I'm very good, Glenn, but I'm glad this is happening. It's been a long time in the making, and can't wait to talk about European football.
Yeah, awesome. Before we get into the Europa League, what did you make of the Champions League games yesterday?
Expected. I thought Liverpool fans were being overconfident. I don't understand why they written off Real Madrid the way they did. I mean, I'm not saying that. I understood it on the day, but some people were writing them off as soon as they drew Real Madrid. Which was a bit of a joke. I know without Ramos and Varane, if to be confident yesterday would have made sense, but to be confident like a week ago would have been a bit silly where they've still got Ramos and Varane still fit. So they kind of got what they deserved in a way. And then obviously the City game, I always thought that would be tight. I actually predicted a 2-1 City win. And because Dortmund like to play with 3 sort of holding midfielders as their main midfield, like with Dahoud, Chan, and then obviously whoever else they end up playing in that midfield. They're a solid team, and I think it's that tie I can't wait to see at Dortmund. I can't wait to see how that one plans out, because that could go either way still.
Yeah, I think they'll draw in the second leg, and Dortmund will go out probably by 1 goal or something. I think City will get a couple of goals there. So we're not here to talk about the Champions League, though. We're here to talk about the biggest European competition that is the Europa League. And a few very good teams in here: Ajax, Roma, Arsenal, United, Granada, Villarreal, Dinamo Zagreb, and Granada, all very good teams. So we'll be doing the predictions for all the 4 fixtures. Of course, all 4 fixtures being played on Thursday. I think all of them, like 2 and then 2 at night. I think 2 early kickoff and then 2 at night. I think that's how it's arranged. So we'll start with the first semi-final. Obviously, the draw was made a couple of weeks ago, and the first semi-final to go out is actually Granada against United. So we'll start with Granada against United. A very good fixture for United, if you ask their fans. They got a very good draw there. So, Sals, what are you expecting from this game?
It's weird because Granada are not the strongest of sides. Even if you're trying to pinpoint an individual being, able to cause issues, I can't. Even though there are a few players I rate, but I just don't think they'd be up to the level of a United or to be able to kind of give too many problems. Like Kennedy on his day can be good. Roberto Soldado could get a few goals. He's a very clinical striker, if given the chances to him. But there's just not enough in that team for me, and I think United are going to walk this one. If they don't, I've got questions to ask, because I'd be really surprised if they don't go and win this. They had Real Sociedad, who have had a much better season, even at the time they played them, and they absolutely walked them. I know it's different teams, different situations, but Granada are a lot weaker than Real Sociedad, so I would expect them to do the business. But then again, with United in cup competitions, they're not the greatest. They seem to have this mental block where they get to a certain stage and then they kind of struggle, which I don't know whether they've... I mean, Pogba is back, so obviously that's a big, because he is a serial winner. He's won things in the past and he's got that ego. Bruno has that ego as well to win, but unfortunately, Bruno's just not showed it to me at United yet that he could go, like in the semi-final stages especially. He's been in 3 semi-finals, lost them all. And that's the question, whether he can go through and become that player who can get that mental barricade away from himself. And obviously having Pogba with him will do wonders. But I see this being like a very convincing United going through without a question for me.
Yeah, what would you predict for the first leg itself, just the first leg?
It's at Granada, isn't it? The only thing that's giving me a bit of hope for Granada is they're not a team that attack a lot.
Yeah.
And that's where United struggle against teams who kind of have these low blocks. So if that's the approach they take, which I hope they do, I think it's going to be like a 2-1 United. That's what I've got a feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, what you've seen this season is that the English teams have, apart from Real yesterday, I think like all English teams have faced up against Spanish teams. United beating Sociedad, Chelsea absolutely dominating Atletico Madrid in both legs. Let's see United and Granada. So in the last round, United beat AC Milan. Was it 2-1 on aggregate? Well, I think it was 2-1 on aggregate. I think that was the correct score. Yeah, they beat them 1-0 away.
Yeah, then it was 0-0 for the second. Yeah.
Yeah, and then for Granada, they beat Molde 3-2. Molde, a team we faced early on in the season, obviously, and they beat them 3-2 on aggregate. So I could see something like that. I actually feel like the first leg will be a draw and then United will clinch it at home. So maybe a 2-2 tomorrow, and then I can see like a 3-1 United win at Old Trafford. So it could be something like that. Obviously, we are hoping Granada goes through. If United go out, then I don't think we have a reason for not winning this competition. What do you think about that?
It's still tough because obviously, it's still tough. There are still teams in there that can cause problems. But the thing I've always said, right? The only issue with English football or the Premier League teams, they don't really. Well, up until recently, with the emergence of like Wenger, Pep, Klopp, and like obviously Tuchel coming in, Mourinho and stuff. We never had a tactical style of leagues. Like we never really had tactical battles between managers, and it was just like whoever had more heart or intensity, who had the fitter team, would tend to win the league. But now that dynamic has always been in Europe. Hence why when English teams come into the Champions League or Europa League, they tend to struggle against the European teams for that very reason. That it's very tactical. It's very sort of thought out, planned out, and it's not just one style. You could come across one Italian team who passes it around, plays a very possession-based game, and then you've got another team who can play very well at counter-attacking, tiki-taka football. And that's where the issue comes in for a lot of English teams. They just don't have the tactical know-how in a lot of their managers. But now that's changing, which is why you're starting to see the re-emergence of the Premier League becoming a European domination again. That's what's going to show today, whether Ole can adapt his tactics. And I think that's the issue with Arsenal, and whether Arteta can tactically get things right, which he can. He has shown he has got tactics, but whether he can get that into the Arsenal team will be a different story, because he's still got Villarreal, who, as much as I know I think it's 6th or 7th in the league, they are still a very well drilled team. You might have a Roma or Ajax, who again, even without their keeper, and I'm sure someone else is out. I can't remember who it was. But I know their keeper and someone else is out due to, like, obviously one's getting banned from football at the minute and then the other due to an injury. But Roma's still a good team. So it's still difficult. But I get your point of it should be less difficult for us.
Difficult, yeah. Speaking of Roma, that's the second fixture we're going to talk about. Ajax against Roma. Probably from an unbiased point of view, probably this is the biggest game of the round. Ajax against Roma. Obviously, we are both these teams eliminated. I think Barcelona. There's a time Roma eliminated Barcelona in 2016, if I'm not wrong, in the Champions League. And Ajax has
that
always
was shocking.
Shocking, the comeback. And Ajax has always been a Champions League team. I think they eliminated Juventus a couple of seasons ago, so they've always been up there. So, being the biggest game of the round, the winner faces the winner of Granada against United. What are you expecting in this game?
This is a good game. Like this game, it's difficult to predict the winner because, like, Neres on his day can be really good. You've got Dusan Tadic. You've got obviously Onana's the one who I'm still sure he's banned. I think he's still got his hearing whether he's allowed to come back and play due to taking some medication or something. They've still got a very solid team, even if you look beyond that. And it's going to be difficult because I like the way that Ajax play football. That's why they've not been player reliant, even with De Ligt going and De Jong, obviously, departure to Juventus and Barcelona, respectively. They've still been a very dominant side because the football they play is very effective and been drilled in them from the youth academy. All Dutch players get drilled a certain way of football. And that's why it's going to be difficult. But then when you look at Roma as well, El Shaarawy on his day can be good. Dzeko, we all know from the City days. On his day, he can just score a hat-trick for fun. Chris Smalling's looking like a new defender. I forgot they had Pedro. Obviously, Pedro, former Chelsea and Barcelona player. Then they've got former Arsenal, United and Dortmund player in Mkhitaryan, who, again, as much as you like him or not, he on his day can do good things. Juan Jesus, they've got So it's going to be tough. This is the game where I think in the first leg, who's playing home first? Is it Roma first at home? Is it?
Yeah, it's I think it's Ajax first at home. I think Ajax
I think this is going to be a 1-1.
Yeah, 1-1 in Amsterdam and then in Italy. Although maybe you'll do some other predictions next week. Obviously, a lot can change in the next 1 week. But if you had to predict right now,
this is tough. I think Roma take it. In my opinion,
Roma take. I do expect. I actually predicted that as well during the draw. People say Ajax, but I kind of expect Roma. I think Roma are very good going forward, especially.
I just think they've got personnel there who have been there and done it. Whereas with Ajax, they're always a team that are up and comers. Like a lot of, no, I wouldn't say inexperienced. They do have a few experienced players, but they've never had the sort of out and out sort of class players who have played at a top level consistently.
Yeah.
You've got Edin Dzeko, who's played at City, obviously won things with them. Pedro at Barcelona won multiple Champions League titles. Mkhitaryan at Borussia Dortmund helping Klopp win the league title. So yeah, they've got winners in their team. But the only thing that kind of gives Ajax a bit of hope is in the league table, they're actually 7th, which is probably one of the worst that they've had in a few seasons. They're usually within the shout of top 4, but they're like 5 or 6 points behind. So it does give them a bit of hope because their form has been very iffy. But I still think Roma's just got enough to beat Ajax. I do
agree with you. Yeah. I do agree with you. And in fact, I actually think they'll beat them in both legs, home and away. So 2-1 tomorrow and then another 2-1 next week. So probably something like 4-2 aggregate and Ajax out. And as Cookie said in the chat, since when Granada beat both United and the winners of Roma and Ajax, so imagine Granada against Arsenal in the final. That would be something epic. I would be kind of scared if they beat. Yeah.
If it was Sociedad, that could happen. But not Granada. I just don't think Granada are strong enough to do it. I just don't see any way of them beating United at the minute. But yeah, sorry, I cut you off there.
Yeah, I do agree with you. Like, I don't see them beating United at all. Like, over 2 legs in one game, you can get a penalty and win the game from nowhere. But over 2 legs, that's very hard. That's why all these teams, if we are facing them like over 1 game, we are pretty good in cup games. 1 game, finals, semi-finals are usually good. But over 2 legs, you never know what can happen. I doubt Arsenal can keep their concentration over 2 legs. That's always been a problem in the last 10 years straight. Yeah, they haven't showed it.
Made it hard. Olympiacos, they've hit it hard. They're still not shown me enough in over 2 legs anyway. If we could have won the Europa League last season if we didn't get knocked out because it turned into a 1-game affair. And I think we had a very good chance if we were in the competition still. Yeah,
very, very true. And the last round, Roma beat Shakhtar by 5-1. So that was very convincing. And for Ajax, if I can find the result, I think they played against, I don't remember who they played against in the result. I think they played against the Young Boys, got it. So they beat Young Boys by 5-0 over 2 legs. So it's could be a very high scoring game. But those are the first 2 games. So you're expecting Roma against United in the semi-final there. So for the second legs, not the second leg, sorry, the third game, Arsenal against Slavia Prague. Very, very big game for us. Obviously, we played against the likes of Sushek and Kufal recently, former players. The last time we played them, we beat them 6-0 at home, but we had Kleb in midfield, we had Fabregas in midfield, now El Nenis and these players we currently have. So what are you expecting from this game? Let me take a couple of comments first. Sorry, Sal. Alex says Judgment Day for Arteta. Cookie says Tierney gone until May 21st. That's a long time, minimum 6 weeks. That would be a very, very huge blow. We shouldn't underestimate Slavia Prague. I mean, they're easily winning the Czech League and knocked out 2 great teams in Leicester and Rangers. What I usually say about that, we also beat Leicester recently, so I don't usually look at that because we also beat Leicester recently, but I know what you're saying. Rangers, tough team as well. So Arsenal, Slavia Prague cells.
Do you know what it is? Like, Slavia Prague are a team that there literally is the definition of a team. They have each other's backs. They're willing to do the dog work for each other. So, like whereas with a lot of the bigger teams, they'll start to look at other players and start blaming each other. Like, oh, why didn't you do this? Or why didn't you? It's like Slavia Prague are a team that just do things for each other. So if, say, for example, someone is out of position, someone will take the initiative and be there to cover for that. And that's why it's going to become. That's why they were able to beat a Leicester. That's why they were able to beat team even in the last round. Who did they have again in the last round? I completely. Rangers. They beat Rangers because of that. Because they're willing to just take the initiative. They may not be the best or the world-class players or world beaters. Maybe in the future, we don't know. But they're players with initiative. They're well drilled. They're a team. They're a unit that like to play for each other. And ultimately, when you have that, it doesn't matter. I mean, you still need to have quality, but the quality can be a little bit less, and you can still beat bigger teams because you're doing everything together. You're on the same page. Whereas with Arsenal, like you've seen it this season, where Danny Ceballos is on one page, and then Partey's on a different page, and then you've got even our centre backs. One's doing one thing, and the other's doing another thing. Your right back and your left back are doing different things, and that's the problem. When you've not got this sort of cohesion or willingness to play together, it becomes difficult. And I was even saying, Slavia probably should be beating them. But the truth is, we don't have a divine right in beating them because they've showed more in this competition than Arsenal have. We've been quite fortunate to be in the quarterfinals, and I can admit that, because I do think we're fortunate because Benfica, we got very lucky that we managed to somehow get 2 goals. The only saving grace is the fact Saka and ESR are back in full training. So they still got. Well? Yeah, but he was ill, so he wasn't really ever fully in doubt. I think he was just a bit sick, probably due to traveling and stuff, I guess. But I think he's obviously back. Obviously, David Luiz and Tierney, big misses for this game. Xhaka is needed. I don't care what people think about Xhaka, but Xhaka's ability to kind of be a dog, be a bit of a B word. I don't want to swear on your channel, but be a B word, like a very sort of in your face player is what you need against teams like this, where they're going to try and give it to you. And I think as long as Xhaka can keep his temper and control, but be himself in a calmer way, he'll be able to handle this game well. I just think if the players can get into his head, that's it, he's getting a red card because they're that kind of team that can get him a red card. But what I've seen against Spurs is the mentality I want to see in Xhaka, where even though Lamela came on and started giving him a bit of crap and giving him a flick of his boot and all of this, Xhaka didn't really respond to it. And he was just giving himself as a player. That's what he needs to do because they're going to do similar things. They're going to come and barge him a little bit. And that's why I'm hopeful if Xhaka and Partey are playing, we've got a very good chance of winning this game. Because they're going to be a team on us, constantly on us. They're going to press us. And they're going to be, like I said, they're a well-drilled team. You can't underestimate them. And obviously, this game, some people have made it more than a football game because of what Slavia, Prague, and UEFA dismissal of obviously the racism that happened to Glen Kamara, one of our own as well, we have to say, from our youth academy. Motivation shouldn't be a problem in this game. Obviously, I'm not one that's going to say, go break the... I know he hasn't travelled or anything, but we just have to focus on the football. That's all we can do. I mean, I've cried about it a lot about, why is this being dismissed? But all you can do, it's gone ahead. We've just got to go on the pitch and show why we're Arsenal Football Club. We need to put all of that anger and emotions aside because that's ultimately going to lose us the game. We need to go with a clear head. Just be motivated. Look, this is what they've done to our people or whatever, however you want to put it, and we're just going to go and beat them. For the sake of the fans. And I do think Arsenal will win this. Not as convincingly as some people. I've seen some 4-0 and 3-0 and 3-1 predictions. I don't think it'll be that easy. I think in the first leg at home, we're probably going to beat them, but it's going to be like a 1-0 or a 2-1.
That was going to be my next point about that guy not traveling. I was like, coward didn't travel because of threats to be confronted about it. So he's going to miss the game.
Wanted to question him,
So he's going to miss out one of the better players, so that is an advantage for us. The one question I had for you in this game, obviously the last 2 rounds we've been away first, even though it hasn't mattered because we've been in Rome and Athens and all that. So which one do you usually prefer? Do you prefer being home first or away first? Because for me, I prefer being home first. Usually people prefer being away, and that's why when you finish first in your group, you actually get an away tie first. So I actually do prefer being home first. Which one do you prefer?
I'm the same, and I'll explain, because I know some people don't understand it. Because do you know the thing at home is you're at a disadvantage when you're at home, because your goals only contribute to 1. Whereas if you score an away goal, they mean more. So if you're tying the game, you're going through because you're the away team. Even though this season it's been quite weird where they've played it in neutral grounds as well because of COVID restrictions and stuff. But I prefer being home first, just because if, say, for example, Slavia Prague do get an away goal, you need an away goal. So it cancels out. Like, once you get a goal, or you get, if say it's 2-1 and you score 2 goals, now they need 3. So it's like they're always at the disadvantage constantly. Whereas with, let's say, for example, we played away first and we scored, it was 2-1, or they beat us 2-1, then we're kind of scared, because if they score that second goal, we're now needing 3 rather than the 2. So that's the reason I prefer playing away for a second.
Yeah, and I remember when we played Benfica and they got that free kick goal, I was like, we're in trouble. Because the moment they get the first goal in the first half, they have another 45 minutes to get 1 more, and that equals like 2 goals. Here's another disadvantage about being home in the second leg. Let's say the first leg ends in a 1-1 against Slavia Prague, and then we travel to Slavia Prague. It ends in a 1-1 as well. We go to extra time. We have another 30 minutes to get another away goal. An extra 30 minutes to get another away goal. So that's not fair. I usually think they should change that. I think there's a competition where that does not apply. The moment you go to extra time, it's cancelled, the away goal. So you have 30 minutes to play like it's 0-0. So that's what they need to change, because the moment they get another away goal, you're in big, big trouble. So I agree with you. I definitely don't want to see this kind of Aubameyang in the game. He missed a lot of chances against Olympiacos as well, against Benfica as well. So I'm hoping not to see that. So can you quickly give me a starting lineup for the game? What you would go for?
Yeah, so I've kind of said it on Twitter with a few players. I've not given an 11 yet, so it's an exclusive on your channel. So I've got Leno in goal, obviously. As bad as he's been, he's our number 1. I think we do need to improve, but that's not a priority. I think right back, I'm going Cedric, and I'll get into who's my left back, and I'll explain at the end why. Centre backs, unfortunately, David Luiz is out. So you know what I would do? If you're so adamant that you don't want to play 2 left-footed centre backs, you've got to go Mari Holding. Gabriel Holding for me has never worked, and it never probably will work. It just doesn't work. Or I want to see Gabriel Mari. Basically, I just don't want to see Gabriel Holding together at any cost. And then left back, I want Bukayo Saka as the left back in this game. And I'll get into it later why that is. And then obviously midfield, if Xhaka should be fit, because he was only ill, he was sick, he wasn't really, and they said it wasn't too serious either. It wasn't like one of those that keep you out like a flu or something. So I'd go Xhaka, Partey, and then I'd go on the right hand side, I'd go with Pepe. I'd go with Odegaard.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want to play Martinelli, personally, I want to see Martinelli in a game like this. But because he doesn't play him, I want to go ESR. And then I want Lacazette up front.
Awesome. Up front. You would go for Martinelli?
I would. If I was the manager, I would put him on the left, Because I think the reason is because what ESR offers, Martinelli offers in terms of the press, in terms of just being a nuisance to a team. But then he also has the ability to be a winger. Whereas for me, ESR, when he does get the ball out wide, he seems a bit out of place. Like, he doesn't seem to fully know what to do. Like, he is good, but when you play him in the number 10, you're like, fucking hell, this guy's good. But then when you play him out wide, you're a bit like, yeah, he's all right. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit of a, he works, but it's a bit of a...
I don't mind Smith Rowe being in the wing. I thought he played very well against Benfica in both legs on the left side.
Yeah, but when he's in the 10, I just think he's phenomenal. But whereas when he's on the wing, I think he's good. That's like, I think there is a drop-off level. But then the reason why I want to play Saka as a left back, I know a lot of people are questioning this, is because his attacking threat will not be diminished, because the way we play our wing backs, especially if Xhaka's back in the team, Xhaka's going to cover for Saka, like Henderson does for Trent. And that's what I think is going to... Because what's going to happen is we're going to overload that side with whoever ends up on the wing, ESR, Martinelli, Aubameyang, whoever it may be. Saka's going to overlap constantly, putting the deliveries we know he can put in. because that is one of the key things he can do. He can deliver a ball into the box. If you've got a Lacazette for me is better overall as a striker than Aubameyang in terms of his heading ability and just his way of just being able to hold off a defender and take a shot. I just think he's a better striker. And that's the reason why. Because if we played a different system, I probably wouldn't ever put Saka back at left back. But because because even Tierney attacks, that's why I'm not that fussed, and I don't think we'll lose too much. Yes, he'll have to focus on his defensive side, but Xhaka's there anyway, so that's why I'm not too worried. And I think when we put Cedric as a left back, it just seems to be very imbalanced. He seems to be out of position a lot. He gets caught out, and I just don't think. I think the risk is not worth it.
I think having Saka there is very good. You know, when we played Liverpool and you didn't have Xhaka in midfield to cover for the left back, when you didn't have Tierney on the pitch and you didn't have Saka on that side, it looked very terrible. Like having Aubameyang and Cedric on that side, so many times Alexander-Arnold was so free. Salah, at the moment Gabriel made those mistakes, he was free. Cedric was way forward. There was no one to cover that left side. Sabias and Elneny don't know how to do that job like Xhaka. So definitely we need someone who can play that position. So I do agree with you. It's Saka. The predicted lineup I had.
It was funny because Cedric was actually marking Trent half the game. I was like, what?
Yeah.
How does your fullback mark a fullback? That, like, when has that ever happened? I don't get it.
Arsenal. It happens during Arsenal games. So this was the predicted lineup I had. But that was before.
Oh, your banner's in the way. So who's the other centre back? Sorry.
Okay, I'll just remove it. Sorry. So I didn't know that Saka and Smith Rowe were fit. So since they're fit, they definitely have to score. The other centre back is
Oh right, yeah, okay. yeah.
So I was actually also tempted to play a back five to fit in Gabriel and Pablo Mari in the same team. I think like in the second leg we could end up doing that. I think in the second leg we could end up seeing Gabriel, Pablo Mari, and Chambers as the centre backs. I easily could see that in the second leg, and then maybe Cedric on the left, Bellerin on the right. The thing I know definitely Bellerin is going to start this on tomorrow. I'm 100% sure of that. I think he's been rested in the Premier League to start these games. Obviously, Lenny and Partey 100%. Odegaard definitely will start. Pepe definitely will start now. The other two positions, Martinelli, Aubameyang, we never know. Obviously, Willian could come in. Obviously, Lacazette could start. Obviously, Smith Rowe could start. We can put Saka on the left side for Cedric instead. So it's going to be very interesting. So you predicted a 2-1 or a 1-0?
Yeah, 2. I think 2-1. I think it's going to be a lot tighter than but it could be 3-1. But I want the scoreline I want is them not to get an away goal. So something like a 1-0 or a 2-0. But I just don't see us keeping them out, especially because we've not got David Luiz. And I know that sounds mad, but just because aerially they're a lot. Holding just doesn't seem to want to fight in the air. Like we've seen it against like Jota and Sterling. He just seems to not really be interested in headering a ball. And then obviously when you look at Slavia Prague, like their players are literally wanting to fight you, even for the ground balls. Forget about the air balls. Like for a header, that's what they want. Like even if you look at Kufal and Souček has scored more headed goals than probably any other player in the Premier League this season. He's tough. That's the caliber of players they have, or the style of players they have. Yeah. So
major threat.
I just think they will get a goal somewhere from like a set piece or a corner or just a crossing, because we seem to not want to stop any team crossing the ball in.
So I don't think they'll get a goal. I think they'll get 2. I think we'll end up winning the game even worse. I think we'll end up winning 3-2, which will be not good, definitely. Remember, when you win 2-0 in a game like this, all you need is just 1 goal away from home, and all of a sudden they need 4. That's the advantage of playing home fast. So I think we'll win 3-2, and maybe over there again we draw, and then we win by 1 goal again. So that's our prediction on Arsenal. Then the final game, obviously, Dinamo Zagreb against Villarreal. We all remember what Dinamo Zagreb did in the last round. In case any Tottenham fans will be watching this anytime soon, I'll remind you, it was 3-2 to Dinamo Zagreb, 3 goals in the second leg. And then for the team they're playing against, Villarreal wiped Dynamo Kyiv aside by 3 goals. So which game, 3 goals or 4? 4-0. 4-0 to Villarreal. So what are we expecting from this game, the final one? Obviously, if we win, we're playing the winner of this one.
So interestingly, right? So Villarreal and Granada, both teams in the Europa League, actually played on Saturday, and Villarreal beat them 3-0 away from. So Granada were home. So that's another interesting thing that for United to know. Even if you look at their just before the international break, Villarreal beating Cadiz 2-1 with a red card. They beat Eibar in the league 3-1. Beat Dynamo Kyiv, obviously we know about that. Obviously Valencia and Atletico Madrid were the last two losses. Now, when you look at their form, generally they're a tough team to beat. But if they beat you well, which is like they seem to be able to get goals, which is obviously what an Emery team has always been, especially in Europa League. Even if you look at his Sevilla runs, like the teams weren't just beating 1-0, 2-0. Like they beat Liverpool 3-1 in the finals. I think it was 3-1 or 3-0 in the finals. And they're a very free-flowing, very good team with Coquelin in there. They've got very good overall players, obviously Gerard Moreno, and there's so many of the more talented, like Barca.
Is Barca still there?
Yeah, he's still. I think he's come back to La Liga. I believe he is. And then you got Alcacer as well. Actually, Alcacer on his day can do wonders for them. Trigueros, I like the of Trigueros as well. So it's gonna be tough, like for Villarreal and that, because even Zagreb, like they're a team who that Orsic especially like is a I've known him more on FIFA, to be honest. But like even when I've seen him play in Europa League, I'm like, he doesn't look half bad. Like I can see why on FIFA he's got the stats he has, but he seems to be a very tricky player, right? And I know Arsenal were linked to him, and I know Tottenham at one point, even before this game, they were linked to him. There's a few Premier League teams that have looked at Orsic, but no one's pulled the trigger for whatever reason at the minute. But for me, Villarreal are just such a good side. I just don't see that like. Spurs are Spurs. That's the problem. It's their mentality. Their team is good enough to beat anyone and win the Europa League. But I don't know what it is. It's their mentality. They just seem to never be able to get past a certain point and win something. Even in Champions League, the same thing happened. And
Carabao Cup, the same thing is going to happen again.
I hope so, because even if they won the Audi Cup and they're flipping relentless. So imagine if they actually win a reputable cup. They're just not going to stop. But I think Villarreal 3-1.
3-1 to Villarreal. In the first leg, I actually think it's going to be 2-1 to Villarreal. And then in the second leg, maybe a 1-1, then Villarreal will go through. So that is Emery against Arteta. I don't know how much I'm looking forward to that, but definitely not looking forward to that. So for Granada against United, we've both gone for United to win in the first leg. I've gone for a draw in the first leg, but United to clinch it in the second leg. Salz agrees with United to go through. We both agree on Roma to beat Ajax. So Roma United. We both agree on Arsenal to scrape it against Slavia Prague, not easily.
I don't think it'll be easy by any imagination,
Yeah, by 1 goal. And then in the final game, Dinamo Zagreb against Villarreal to win it also. I think by 1 goal. Sal thinks maybe by 2 goals or something like that. So that will be very, very interesting. Sals, thank you very much for coming on. Let me quickly ask you, today's Champions League games, which teams are you expecting to win?
No Lewandowski, Gnabry, but then they're missing Neymar. I think 2-1 Bayern for that game, and I think 0-0 Porto Chelsea. I've said it all along. I don't think there's going to be a goal in that game because Porto are missing their two main goal scorers in Oliveira and I can't remember who the other name is due to suspensions. So they're just probably going to sit back, and then Chelsea are a very defensive side as well. So 0-0 for that one.
I don't know why I feel like PSG will win away from home. I don't know. I just felt like that. I think I had a dream or something that they won the first leg, and they won by 3 goals, 3-2. And yes, Lewandowski misses, but Bayern is just Bayern. Even if they're missing players, the likes of Kimmich are very good. But I don't know, man. Over 2 legs, which one would you go for over 2 legs?
Bayern. I think Thomas Muller's going to turn up. I really like Thomas Muller. And I think even with the exclusion of Lewandowski, he's going to come into that place and do the job for them. So I think over the 2 legs, without Neymar, because Mbappe has been kind of quiet against certain teams and people have been able to kind of tame him. And I think Bayern Munich have a lot more than a lot of the teams that Mbappe's played against. Without Neymar, he seems to have too much to do. And he's not there yet in terms of his ability. And for that very reason, and I think Bayern have goals everywhere, whereas with PSG's outlet's going to be Di Maria, Moise Kean or Mbappe, and they're going to be.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be Mbappe who's getting the goals. So for that very reason, I just see Bayern going through. It's going to be a close one, like a one goal in it, or an away goal thing where they tie the aggregate, but on an away goal basis, Bayern go through.
Yeah, a lot of possibilities in the Europa League and Premier League. A lot of games to look forward to. In the Europa League, we could end up seeing Arsenal against Emre. We could end up seeing Arsenal against United. We could end up seeing Granada in the final. In the Champions League, we could end up seeing a final of Bayern against Dortmund, or a semi-final of Bayern against Dortmund, and then the other semi-final could be Liverpool against Chelsea. We could see a Bayern-Chelsea final again, like back in 2012. So a lot of possibilities. But now, make sure you follow Sal's on Twitter at Let's Debate Footy, and check out his content. I'll leave his link in the description. Check out his content on YouTube. He does Barcelona stuff, Arsenal stuff, and all that, some live streams and all that. So thank you for watching. Keep staying safe, and I'll catch up with you guys later.